Many of you use library reserves or otherwise maybe use folders or have things all in one place inside your Moodle site. But what if you wanted to have a direct link to those, like inside this folder, from another place in your course? Here I'm going to show you how you could do that. So let's say down here in topic 4, I want to point students to one of the readings that's in the folder that I have up at the top. Now, as you know, with library reserves, the library prefers that those files remain inside that folder because they have access to that folder, can place things inside of it, can maintain any copyright requirements that are associated with that, such as the length of time in which it's available. And in addition, they can use that to determine how many students are accessing reserves. Basically the kind of things they need to do their job only work if all of the library reserves remain inside one folder. However, we can link to it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm not going to create something quite yet. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to click on reserves, and I am going to right click on my PC, and it's a command click, I believe, on a Mac if you don't have two buttons. And I'm going to save, I'm going to copy the link location is what I'm going to do here, and whatever it is on your computer for copying a link. Now I'm going to come back into the main part of my course, and down here in week 2, that's where I'm going to add it. Add an activity or resource, and in this case I could choose either the label or the URL. Either will work. I think in this case I'll use label, and I'm going to now paste that link that I just had. Now once I've pasted that link, I do need, inside the label tool, I do need to tell Moodle that that's going to be a link by clicking the link button. Your editor may look a little different than mine, but this is what mine looks like. And I paste that link in there too. Create link. Okay, so that's now a link. Although in reality, I might make this a little neater and might, name of article, etc. Please read. And then I can highlight that text. Click that. Paste my link in there. Create link. There, that's going to look a little bit better. All right. Click here to access reading, name of article. There. I'll do that. That does it. Okay, and then save and return to course. Okay, so now a student comes here and they need to, this is a reading, so I'm going to drag, just because I like to do this. There, I've dragged it up into my readings for the week. I've made it, I just like things to look a certain way. So now here it is. The reading itself lives in the reserves folder, but when they click on that, it goes straight to it, even though it lives, and in this case it was a PDF. It was a link to a PDF, so they're just able to get right to it. So we have not moved it out of the folder, and if the library were to check and see who's been in reserves, they would still be able to access that information. There's another approach to this that involves just simply pointing to the reserves folder. So I think I'll do that. I'll do that here also. Add an activity or resource. And in this case, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm still going to do label, add, click here to access this week's reading, paper on blah, 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 whatever. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing we did before. We're going to highlight that text, tell Moodle, make it a link. But this time, instead of entering the URL, I'm going to do browse repositories. And then I'm going to come here to server files. And then here's that folder, reserves. So I just click on that. And click on that. And then create an alias or shortcut to the file, select this file, and then save and return. Either way works. So now when I click that, it does the same thing that it did before. So that is how you would do it that way. There's one final way. We've done this with a URL, and in both those cases we have to tell Moodle stuff about using a URL, but I could also just use the URL resource. And in that case, I'm coming here and, reading on whatever, and I can choose a link or I can paste it in. When I go choose a link, It's not working the way I want it to. There. I just pasted that link we had from before, the one where I copied it. You can see that there. So this way I'm not having to do anything special with anything down here. It's just a link. Save and return to course. And then now you'll notice it just looks a little different. It has a different, this is just the words that I entered, and this has the icon and then the words that I entered. And then it brings us to here, and then we open up the resource. So it's just an extra, like the students have an extra click, but you have one fewer click. It's up to you which of those approaches you take. But either way, that allows you to access reserve files that live inside of the reserves folder from a topical area or week later in your Moodle course site.